The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 4, titled Some Guy, is directed by Dan Liu, and I'm going to review this episode for you, let you know what I thought. I gotta be honest, I didn't find any Easter eggs. If you guys did find any Easter eggs, let me know in the comments below. After I'm done with the review, I'm going to give you my predictions on what I think is going to happen in the future of this season and show overall. Now, if you have not seen this episode, I'm going to be talking spoilers, so you definitely want to go watch this episode before watching this video because yeah, I'm going to be talking about some pretty big things. We start off this episode with King Ezekiel kind of getting ready. Looks like he just got out of a shower or something. He's kind of prepping for just the day. At first I thought it was a flashback, and then I thought maybe it's a flash forward because we already got a flash forward with Rick and everyone. Maybe we'll get a flash forward with King Ezekiel. But no, it's just a flashback to him just prepping and getting ready for the battle that is about to ensue against the Saviors. And once I saw this, I was like, okay, something big is going to happen to King Ezekiel. Either he is going to die or someone very close to him is going to die. And unfortunately, I was right on the latter part. It's a pretty emotional flashback because you see that most of these people at the kingdom have families and they're leaving to go fight and possibly die. And unfortunately, most, if not all of them, well, all but like 3 of them die. Because, you know, the Saviors had that mounted gun and they're just mowing people down. Except for King Ezekiel, Jerry comes back, he survives, and of course Carol. Also, of course, he has to give another speech, and I like this speech because it kind of like resembles Rick in a sense from season 6, I think it was. Because Rick was getting way too confident in his abilities, and everyone else at Alexandria, he was just like, oh, we own the world right now because we're tough. And then, of course, Negan comes in and just breaks Rick. And this is a similar feeling to where King Ezekiel is very confident. He's like, oh, we will not lose one of our ranks. You know, we're all going to come back. And it turns out that only a few come back. And it's really kind of sad. But overall, I thought the opening was actually pretty strong. You know, King Ezekiel's been shot in the leg after all those people dove on him, and he's trying to get off this field, but he's kind of locked in at this point because they locked the gate behind him or something, and all his people that have been shot are turning into walkers really quickly, if I might add. I know that they always say it varies from person to person. I think that's what Dr. Jenner said in the CDC, but I mean, they turned really fast. Also, when King Ezekiel's like crawling over all the dead bodies and he's finding these guns, he gets a pistol, shoots one shot, and then it's empty. It's like, who's not reloading their pistol? And then he gets a rifle, same thing. He doesn't even get a shot off of it. And then I'm thinking, okay, first off, who doesn't reload in a battle? Second off, if this person was actually carrying this weapon, this rifle, shouldn't they have extra ammo or clips that he can just grab off of them and put it in the gun? I mean, it'd be a simple remedy, right? I mean, he's clearly out of ammo, and obviously he's not thinking clearly because he's just trying to survive, he's trying to get away. But I don't know, that just kind of bothered me. And then we see that Carol survived and she's infiltrating this building, and she is back to being awesome. Like, she's killing people left and right. As the guys are trying to carry out the big guns, she shoots them. But she was in the ceiling. It doesn't really make sense how she was able to just, boom, get them all in one sweep. But I'll suspend my disbelief because it was sweet. While Carol's trying to get the big guns and kill all the other Saviors that are trying to get them back to the sanctuary, King Ezekiel is taken prison by this like Dwight Schrute knockoff guy. And I knew he wasn't going to survive because he's not like a memorable looking Savior. He doesn't have a memorable look. He's just kind of a generic guy. I know that sounds terrible to say, but he really is. And I knew that because they didn't show Jerry being dead. Jerry, if you don't know, he's the guy with the big axe. He's the big guy. He's cool. And I knew that he wasn't dead because they didn't show him. They would have showed his body if he was dead. And they didn't show him. So he comes back last second, just like cuts the guy in half. And that was awesome. I knew it was going to happen somewhat like that. I'm like, he's going to kill him with his axe I don't know how. Either he's going to get a clean sweep of his head cutting off or something else. And he just actually cuts him in half. That was pretty sweet. Down the middle. Like, not through, just down. Oh man, that was awesome. And I did call it last week when I said this week will be the episode when King Ezekiel and Jerry are talking. They're up against the fence and Jerry says, "Thank you, Your Majesty." And he says, "What?" "For being such a cool dude." I knew that was going to happen, but I thought it was going to play out a little differently. Carol comes to the rescue, which it was bothering me how long it took her to decide what to do. I'm like, okay, you got to make a decision quick in those kind of situations. Either you stay right there and you shoot the tires so they can't drive off, or you go save King Ezekiel and Jerry, because she was sitting there thinking for like 10 seconds. It's like, come on, come on, come on. Make a decision, come on. But again, during that whole firefight scene against Carol and the Saviors, nobody reloads. No one. It drives me nuts. It's like you do not have 500 rounds in that little clip. There's no way. And they just keep popping off rounds. I'm like, come on, come on. There are quite a few flashbacks in this episode, and in a way, it kind of reminded me how Lost treated its flashbacks, where it's like, okay, what they said in the flashback is actually going to be necessary to them in the present. They're going to need that knowledge. So what was said to them or what they learned then, they're going to apply it here. I just thought it was a bit cheesy, but at least for this show. So after Carol saves King Ezekiel and Jerry, which I thought was a pretty good scene, I was like, thank you, you saved them. They're like, oh, we got to go get them. And you hear the faint noise of an engine that sounds like a motorcycle, and Carol's like, no, somebody else has got it covered, pretty much. She doesn't say that exactly. But once you hear that, you're like, oh, it's Daryl. He's going to go get him. And of course, Rick is with him. And that chase scene, it was pretty good. Minus the shooting part, you know, because there's a part where the guy has that big gun mounted on the back of the Humvee, and he's shooting at Daryl, and Daryl falls off his bike. He doesn't get shot, but almost does. And Rick is chasing him now. Granted, that Jeep kind of looks like a military Jeep. It's just a regular old Jeep Wrangler, but it's like bulletproof. This gun is shooting like gigantic bullets at this car, and they're just bouncing off, ping, 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 ping. Nothing's breaking through the windshield. He's able to dodge these bullets. I'm like, come on. He's not that small of a target, and you have a gigantic gun with big bullets, and you're trying to fire. Granted, yes, he is kind of, the other guy's swerving in and out of walkers, and I do like that scene. I thought it was funny how he's trying to dodge the walkers, and the guy in the back's just kind of, whoa, whoa. Like, I don't know, I thought that was funny. I'm like, go Rick, now's your time. And I absolutely love the part where Rick is like, okay, I got nothing on this, so he swerves over out of the way, and Daryl just comes plowing through and shoots the guy. That was awesome. And then, of course, Rick jumps onto the Humvee and takes the other guy out. That chase scene was pretty exciting, and it was pretty sweet to see Rick and Daryl working together again. And that still is, like, my favorite aspect of this season, is the Rick and Daryl stuff. It's just so cool to see them working together, because we did not get enough of that the last few seasons. I mean, last season, for half of it, Daryl was captured in Negan's sanctuary. So, like, we didn't even get Daryl that much last season. And this season, it's Daryl and Rick working together. The brothers are back together, and it's awesome. When King Ezekiel, Carol, and Jerry are in the woods and they're just trying to get away, there's this scene where, you know, the walkers are coming up to them and Carol's just kind of killing them. It didn't look right. She just looked like she's stopping really short. And I mean, yes, she has to, because they are actors playing the zombie or the walkers, but they used to make it look so much more real, and it didn't look real, at least at that part. And that just kind of bothered me, because that was a pretty intense scene. Like, this whole episode was pretty stressful. And then they get to the, like, creek where there's toxic waste or something going on. And I thought that they were going to use that for something else. Maybe it'll come back later, but they did find out why that one walker last episode looked the way he did. But then, right before, you know, King Ezekiel's about to die, pretty much, Shiva comes in, finally. I was waiting for her to come back. She comes in and starts wiping out walkers. And as soon as that happened, even before that happened, I knew maybe 10 minutes before that, I was like, I was texting my brother and my mom saying, I think Shiva's gonna die in this episode. Sure enough, she comes, saves the day, and she gets overwhelmed by walkers. And it was a very sad death because of the way that it was handled. She's killed by walkers, not humans. And King Ezekiel has to watch, after he had saved her originally at the zoo, he has to watch her save him, but end up dying in the process. And it was pretty sad. But to be honest, I was a little disappointed with her death. As sad as it was, I was still disappointed because I thought it could have meant more to him if she was killed by a savior or something. And that would have just set him over the edge. And yeah, I just think it would have been a much more impactful death. But I did appreciate the fact that she did save him and Carol and Jerry as her last moment. So then after that, King Ezekiel has to go back home and face all the people of the kingdom, hey, we're back, but everyone else is dead. That was pretty gut-wrenching. I think it should have played out a little bit longer. People should have been maybe questioning or talking under their breath, what's going on? Where is everybody? But you know what? I did appreciate the fact that he does have to get back, and it's silence. He knows that he's failed, and it's very sad. And I just have this feeling that once Rick gets back and Daryl get back from their adventures, and they have to go back and report to the kingdom or Hilltop, everyone's going to be, they're going to be tired of this already. They're like, we can't do this anymore. We've lost too much. And Rick is still going to be pushing. We've still got all the main characters still knocking around. Sooner or later, we're going to lose someone. So overall, I actually really did like this episode. It almost felt too bottled up with just focusing on the kingdom and King Ezekiel and Carol and Jerry. But, at the end, it's like, hey, we know other things are going on. So we're not just going to bottle this episode up. We're going to bring another group in. That's Rick and Daryl, and we're going to show you what they are up to, because their role is very important in this episode. I enjoyed this episode, mainly because of the Rick and Daryl stuff at the end. And of course, Shiva, her death, not that I enjoyed watching it. It was powerful and it was emotional. But overall, I did enjoy this episode. But again, it wasn't the most exciting. It was very stressful, yes, but again, it did feel a little too bottled up. So I gotta give this episode a B+. Still pretty good. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. But yeah, I'm excited for the next episode for sure. And so because I don't have any Easter eggs, let's just jump into my predictions for next episode. In this section of the video, there are potential spoilers. I'm not privy to all the spoilers from the comic books. I've heard a few things. I know a couple things. But this is all just really conjecture on my part. We are getting back to Negan and Father Gabriel, which I'm so excited about because we haven't seen Negan since the first episode, and it feels like longer, but it was only 3 episodes ago. This is the 4th episode. We got Negan on the 1st episode. So we've had 3 episodes of no Negan. He's been spoken of, but that's about it. But it's nice that we're getting back to him and seeing what him and Gabriel are up to in that trailer, and that is going to be very stressful, I think. And I'm excited to see that because it's just nice because we're getting the sanctuary and the savior's side of the story right now. It looks like that's all we're going to focus on in that episode because Dwight might be getting found out. They're all the generals of Negan, they're having this meeting. They're someone in here, let them know what's going on. So who is it? And obviously everyone's eyes are going to be on Eugene because Eugene started out with Abraham and then obviously went with Rick and everyone like that. But obviously everyone's going to be blaming him. But I think Dwight is going to come to the rescue. He's going to save Eugene at the end. Maybe Eugene and Dwight are going to get out. Who knows? I just don't know if they can even redeem Dwight. They're working on it. And I don't know if Eugene can come back either because he's a jerk. He's a coward. I just hope that he has a plan. I don't think he does, but it'd be nice if he does. Also, I don't think Dwight or Eugene are going to die in this episode. However, I do think that Gabriel could potentially die. I think that they're going to have a lot of dialogue back and forth because, If I remember correctly, Negan is creeped out by Gabriel. I'm just excited to see them one-on-one. No other people around them, and Walker's just a stressful environment, just them two together. It's going to be entertaining for sure. And I hope that we get more Negan in this episode because I want to see more Negan. And I'm hoping that sometime soon, hopefully before the mid-season finale, we get the backstory for Negan. I would like that. I don't know if we're gonna get it because we are already halfway to the mid-season finale. We only have 4 episodes left. We have 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then that's the mid-season finale. And then we got another 8 episodes starting in February. But they gotta give us a big mid-season finale, and I think it'll be the conclusion of the war, but I might be wrong. I don't know if they can drag it out for the whole season. I think it would be great if they could, but it might get a little too, I don't know, tiring to just see war and battles all the time. We want to see the story progress as well. And I think I know who the next villain is going to be after Negan, but you know what? They need to just let it sit for a little while, like they did with the end of season 4, the middle to end of season 5. You know, there was a lot of slow-moving episodes, but they were pretty important. So unfortunately, that is all I've got for you right now. I liked this episode, like I said. I'm excited for the next episode and for where the rest of this season is going to take us, or at least the first half of the season. It's going to be a good one for sure. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button so you can be notified when we upload new content. We also have a Patreon page that you should definitely check out. You can get early access to videos, vote on future projects. It's a lot of fun, and we're trying it out. So definitely check that out. Obviously, no pressure at all. Watching this video is perfectly fine and support enough. So I thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.